about changing the landscape of a division. I mean, if we want to get into that, the DMD, she closed the chapter. The DMD closed the chapter on Nyla, and I think immediately we transition into the Red Velvet feud, and what a breath of fresh air! Such a perfect fit. Mm-hmm. Red Velvet kind of has that small, plucky underdog baby face, not going to back down from anybody, going to talk trash, and really not afraid of betting on herself, going against the DMD. And again, this is something I've always tried to emphasize with DMD. We saw some of this creep out in the Thunder Rosa feud. DMD presented as a powerhouse, right? I love when Britt that's one of the things. I know there are a lot of things about the Nyla feud that didn't hit for us, that weren't clicking. But one of the things is that I think that Britt has built up this aggressive side of her. And, a lot of her offense, when we think about it, it works when she can be that aggressor, that powerhouse vibe to her where, she's hitting the kryptonite crunch. She's manhandling or tossing around the talent, and I think that putting her against Red Velvet, that size disparity is going to be a perfect matchup. It's going to allow DMD to shine, and this was exactly as a diehard DMD fanboy here. This was exactly what the fans love about Britt Baker. This is the version of the DMD that we love to see. This is the version of the DMD that made her the star that she is. That nasty edge to her. I mean, putting Red Velvet in her place, talking like Velvet coming out, challenging her, talking smack, and Britt basically saying like, "I beat your ass in less than 3 minutes last time."
You're enhancement talent.
I mean, Britt came hard, and I liked that Red Velvet showed that she's not afraid, that she has that spunk, that firecracker mentality to come to push back.
7 straight wins, she said. She had 7 straight wins, so she's a different person than what she was when the first time, and so is Britt as she came back with a rebuttal. I'm glad we finally we have a match set for Rampage in her hometown, and so we have the next challenger, and like you said, it works so well in terms of just even the body dynamics. And I don't know, like, I'm surprised with the broken wrist, like she's going to be able to fight, and I think you can.
That's why she's the best in the world, baby.
Not to pick out this segment at all, but it almost really did look like Britt was favoring that wrist like heavily. And at the end, it looked like she was in kind of some pain from it. So I know they executed it as well as they could with a broken wrist, with the curb stomp, and then the crutch on there with one hand essentially. But I'm excited for this. And like you said, it's a perfect pairing. And then move on from that, and you just keep stretching it out, see how it does. And my booking, I still stand by that 3-on-3 match that I want to see it all out. If DMD somehow meets some iconic
reinforcements,
some iconic looking friends, and Thunder brings a couple of her friends, maybe in Tay and Anna. So I think that would be an awesome booking match, fantasy booking. But it's exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it sets the stage, right? Britt's going to go to the homecoming. She's going to be in Pittsburgh. And although, again, the DMD is going to get a lot of face. She's going to get a lot of love when she returns home. The people are going to go crazy for her. Why not serve them up a beautiful rendition of an ass whooping? Red Velvet showed when she went up against Jade, who I think, again, the seeds were planted for a Jade feud down the line in my eyes when we get into our women's match later on. But I see it pretty clearly. The DMD is going to beat the crap out of Red Velvet in Pittsburgh. But Velvet, to her credit, when she went against a powerhouse like Jade, she showed a lot of offense that was compelling, that she's willing to throw herself all over the place. She's willing to do whatever it takes to win. And I think that visual of Britt kind of being in control, being that powerhouse, Velvet being that underdog who won't give up, that's going to work really, really well. Ultimately, I think that, in Pittsburgh, they're gonna eat it up, seeing Britt just tossing Red Velvet around beating her down a little bit. I think that's going to get the crowd going. And again, this is a nice placeholder until we see the long-term who's going to emerge as Britt's next contender.
Sure.
Now, I know that, I watched Dark and you see Chris Statlander with her promo, and they're giving Chris a little bit more opportunity to expand on her character and develop her comfort in those areas that we know she still needs to develop, right? I mean, Chris Statlander in the ring right now, I think is as good as she's ever been, and is only getting better. But I think that
he was on Team SPD. When
you see Statlander cutting promos like you saw on Dynamite, you could say, okay, that's a believable contender at All Out. But when you see Red Velvet as a contender against Britt Baker, my mind automatically goes to, again, Red Velvet, her ties to Mission Pro Wrestling, her ties to Thunder Rosa. Immediately, maybe it's just because I am so obsessed with that feud of DMD versus Thunder, but my mind automatically goes to that, right? You know that Rebel's going to be in Britt's corner.
Right.
Who can emerge in Red Velvet's corner to help balance the tide, balance out that maybe Thunder Rosa, the number one contender, moves in and kind of as the mentor kind of steps in and emerges as the person who has Velvet's back. There's so much excitement right now in the women's division, and that's not a surprise in the DMD era, my friend. Not a surprise at all.